Hello everyone, I am Professor Prashant Tide from the Department of Mechanical Engineering of Maratha Vidya Prasarak Samaj, KBT COE, Nashik. In this lecture, I will discuss about the process of formation of boundary layer, the various factors which affects the growth of a boundary layer, the various regions inside the boundary layer thickness, and at the last, I will discuss about various applications of the boundary layer theory. So first of all, we will start with the definition of boundary layer. So for that, consider a flow of a fluid through a circular pipe. Now, the velocity of fluid close to the surface is always same as that of the velocity of surface. In this case, as our pipe surface is stationary, therefore the velocity of fluid at the surface of pipe is equal to 0. But as we move away from the surface in vertical direction, in y direction means in a direction perpendicular to the direction of flow, the velocity of fluid goes on increasing up to the free stream velocity. The free stream velocity is nothing but the maximum velocity for that fluid flow. Now, therefore, there is a variation in velocity from 0 to maximum, and this variation in velocity takes place in a region near to the surface of a solid boundary. This area is called as a boundary layer. In this figure, you can see that the curve shown with the help of a dotted line near to the surface of a solid body is your boundary layer region. And along with that, you can also see the variation in velocity. At the surface of a solid body, the velocity is 0, and as we move away from the surface, the velocity goes on increasing and it becomes maximum equal to capital U. Capital U is our free stream velocity or maximum velocity. Next, we will study about the boundary layer region. But before starting with the regions, first of all, we will discuss the main reason behind the formation of boundary layer. So for that, consider a flow of fluid over a thin flat plate AD. The flow direction is given in the figure. The flow is taking place from left to right direction, and in between the flow we have placed a thin flat plate AD. So now when the flow strikes the plate at its leading edge point A, then the velocity of fluid at the plate surface is 0 because our plate is stationary, and as we move in the vertical direction, again there will be a velocity variation. This velocity variation causes velocity gradient inside that fluid flow. The velocity gradient du by dy will further produce shear stress as per the Newton's law of viscosity. The Newton's law of viscosity is tau is equal to mu into du upon dy. So if there is du upon dy, if there is velocity gradient, then there will be a shear stress. So in this case also, a shear stress is produced near to the surface of a plate. This shear stress produces resistance to the flow of a fluid, and near to the surface of plate, because of the shear stress, the fluid motion is retarded, and hence the boundary layer is created near to the surface of plate. So this is the main reason for the formation of boundary layer. The shear stress produces retardation to the flow, and because of the retardation, the boundary layer starts. Boundary layer starts from the leading edge of the plate. Now we will discuss the various zones for a boundary layer, and the main three zones are laminar, transition, and turbulent. The fourth one is laminar sublayer. So now one by one we will discuss about all these zones. So first of all, a laminar zone. In the figure, A to B is called as a laminar zone. Why? So for that, see the second diagram. In the second diagram, you can see in the laminar zone A to B, the fluid moves in the form of layers. Why? Because in A to B, in the zone A to B, means in the laminar zone, the variation in velocity is very small as compared to the turbulent zone. As the variation in velocity is very small, therefore the shear stress induced is also very small, and therefore the retardation to the fluid is also very less in a laminar zone. And that's why, as the retardation is less, the fluid moves in the form of a straight layers. So A to B, we can call that zone as laminar zone. But as we move in the downstream direction, the flow becomes unstable, the fluid motion becomes very irregular. Why? Because now the velocity variation increases compared to the laminar zone, and therefore the laminar boundary layer gets converted into turbulent boundary layer. In between this conversion from laminar to turbulent, the zone B to C, we can call that zone as a transition zone. And further downstream from point C, the fluid becomes unstable, the fluid motion becomes unstable, there is a large variation in velocity from 0 to maximum, therefore the velocity gradient increases, shear stress increases, the fluid is further retarded in between C to D, and that's why we call that zone C to D as a turbulent boundary layer. In this turbulent boundary zone, one dotted layer, we can see one dotted layer there in between C to D. That dotted layer is called as a laminar sublayer. See, although C to D is a turbulent zone, but still very near to the surface of the plate, we can assume that the fluid moves in the form of a layer. That you can also see in the second diagram. Near to the surface of the plate, the fluid moves in the form of a layer. So that's why near to the surface in the turbulent zone, we can call that layer as a laminar sublayer. Above laminar sublayer, we have turbulent fluid flow, but up to laminar sublayer, the fluid moves in the form of a layers. So these are the main four regions in a boundary layer: laminar, transition, turbulent, and the last one is laminar sublayer. Next is growth of the boundary layer. How the boundary layer proceeds along the length of the plate. So the region we have studied in the earlier slide, laminar, transition, turbulent, all these zones and their lengths from the leading edge depends upon the Reynolds number. The Reynolds number, for the Reynolds number, the equation you can see, the equation for Reynolds number is Re is equal to capital U into X divided by nu. Capital U is our free stream velocity, nu is kinematic viscosity of the fluid, Re is Reynolds number. Just concentrate on that X. That X is nothing but the distance from the leading edge. What is leading edge? It is the starting point of the plate. The point A is our leading edge. And in this equation of Reynolds number, X is the distance from the leading edge. So this equation of Reynolds number, it is used to calculate that distance X. For an example, consider a laminar zone. We know that for a flat plate, the value of Reynolds number is 5 into 10 raised to 5. So we will substitute that Reynolds number value in the above equation. So now the equation becomes, for a laminar zone, 5 into 10 raised to 5 is equal to U into X upon nu. So now if we know the value of free stream velocity capital U and kinematic viscosity nu of a fluid, then we can calculate the distance X from the leading edge. So accordingly, we can calculate the length of laminar zone, the length of transition zone, the length of turbulent zone from the leading edge with the help of a Reynolds equation. Next is boundary layer thickness. So now, till now, we know one point, that there is a variation in velocity when flow passes over a plate. The velocity varies from 0 to maximum. So now we have to understand this term boundary layer thickness. So what is boundary layer thickness? It is defined as the distance from the boundary of a solid body measured in y direction to the point where the velocity of fluid is approximately equal to 99% of the free stream velocity. See, now I have said that the velocity varies from 0 to maximum. So that vertical distance from 0 to maximum, that we have to measure, and that vertical distance is nothing but your boundary layer thickness. Now, due to formation of this boundary layer, we have already studied that shear stress retards the flow of a fluid. Because of this retardation to the flow, there is a reduction in flow rate of the fluid, momentum of the fluid, and the kinetic energy of the fluid flow. Now depending upon these reduction criteria, we can measure the boundary layer thickness in terms of displacement thickness, momentum thickness and energy thickness. So first is displacement thickness. So the displacement thickness, the definition, it is defined as a distance measured perpendicular to the boundary of a solid body by which boundary should be displaced to compensate for reduction in flow rate of a flowing fluid due to formation of boundary layer. We know that because of the boundary layer there will be a reduction in flow rate, and to compensate for that flow rate we have to displace the boundary by which distance equal to displacement thickness. That displacement thickness is denoted by delta star, and equation for delta star for displacement thickness is integration from 0 to delta in bracket 1 minus small u upon capital U bracket complete into dy. Similar to the displacement thickness, we will study about the momentum thickness. Because of the formation of boundary layer there is a loss in momentum of the fluid flow. To compensate for that loss in momentum we have to displace the boundary of a solid surface by an amount equal to momentum thickness now, and that momentum thickness is denoted by theta, and equation for theta is integration from 0 to delta u upon capital U in bracket 1 minus small u upon capital U bracket complete into dy. The last is energy thickness denoted by delta double star, and you can predict from the definition, and as per the displacement and momentum thickness, energy thickness is also defined as the distance by which the boundary of a solid surface should be displaced now to compensate for the reduction in kinetic energy of a fluid of a flowing fluid. So the delta double star, the equation for delta double star is integration from 0 to delta u upon u in bracket 1 minus small u square upon capital U square into dy. We have to remember these three equations for solving the numericals on the boundary layer thickness. The three equations are in front of you. Just note down these three equations for displacement thickness, for momentum thickness and for energy thickness. At the last, now we will understand some of the applications of boundary layer theory. This boundary layer theory has a wide range of applications. You can see in the slide also. This theory is mostly used in aerodynamics and hydrodynamics. In aerodynamics, for the design of aeroplane, rocket, projectile. For projectile motion also, we must have the knowledge of boundary layer theory. In hydrodynamics, for the design of ships, submarine and torpedoes, we should have the knowledge of boundary layer theory. It is also used in transportation, wind engineering and ocean engineering. So that's all from my side. This was about the boundary layer theory. In the next lecture, we will take one or two numericals on the boundary layer theory. Thank you. Thank you everyone.